y'all didn't know, Keefe D was part of the people that was part of the assassination of Tupac Shakur. He had made a deal with the feds when he got caught up with some dope. And he took a proffer agreement, and he told what happened that night, that his cousin, Orlando Anderson, was the one that committed the murder. But in the proffer agreement, in the statement, he said that he was the person that handed him the gun. At first, he tried to hand the gun to a guy named D that was in the car. He said no. So he couldn't shoot it because they was on the driver's side. He was sitting on the passenger side. His cousin, Orlando Anderson, was sitting behind him. He said he handed it behind him. Orlando Anderson reached over D, shot out the window. Alright? Now, the police was not able to use that against him because they said if he told the truth, then he'd get immunity. Well, no, not immunity, just a profit agreement, and he'd get his time cut, which he did. He did about 10 years in the feds and got out. But ever since he got out, he'd been going around doing interviews talking about what happened that day. Now, the police in Las Vegas then came and circled back and spent the blocks because everybody keep notifying them that, hey, this man is talking about he's part of the murder of Tupac Shakur. He's giving details over and over and over again. So now they then came and picked him back up and using everything he said against him in all the interviews. Now, here's the deal. He think they won't be able to use it because he made a proffer deal. Well, the proffer deal was only good inside that room. If you told the same story in public over and over again, they can use it against you. Now, here's the thing. The proffer deal was done in California.
Correct.
Charges are being brought in
Las Vegas.
There you go. It's a wrap.
Keefe D, you in trouble.
in trouble.
My question is, was it worth it?
Whew, that's tough, man. So, I'll say this. I'll preface it. So, I'm shocked when I first hear this, that he may be going down for this because, like everybody else, I've been watching Vlad TV for years.
Yeah.
He done went on there 2 or 3 times talking about exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Now, while I was listening to it, I never heard him say he took the gun and handed it to him.
Yeah.
Because then my antennas would have went up like, wait a second.
Right.
Correct.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy, bro.
But what we did hear in several of them videos, he talked about why they even was in the mix in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Who came and asked for some help? Because Suge was putting some pressure on him. Because they want to go and do promo on the West Coast. And Suge coming to New York pressing.
Yeah.
Who did they little 2-step into the Southside Crips and said, I need some help. I got some real pressure on me. Might get a little tight for Sean Diddy Combs.
Jeez.
If Keefe D get in there and say that he got $1 from P. Diddy in any capacity and can prove it,
right,
by either another person visibly say, because there is another interview out there that says that Keefe D said there's another guy who acknowledges him getting money a week after Tupac died.
Right.
A bag with $1 million in it.
Right. Correct.
And if he get in there and say that $1 million came from anybody, it's just a terrible look for Diddy.
Right.
Just a terrible legacy look.
Right.
If he just even does it to bring it up, he'll never live it down. His legacy will never be able to escape it. Because everybody already blame him for Big getting killed. Because this was his beef, not Big's beef.
Right.
He talked about the Biggie killing as well in this last interview he did just days ago. Yep. So what happened was they was with Biggie and them called him to the club that they was at on the West Coast, and they paid him to be with him. But Biggie said the feds on him, and they gave him ballers and told him to go to their own section. Now, what's crazy is Biggie's security guard is now Jay-Z's security guard, the big dude. Right? That's what he was saying. But he said when they left that night, they left in Suburbans, but they didn't go with him because Biggie wanted them away from him because the feds was already watching.
Right.
So he don't know if the police killed him. He say he think the police did.
To keep it going.
So he's mentioned that several times. He felt like if Biggie hadn't have told them to leave,
Yeah.
Because of the heat that he had,
Right.
that Biggie would still be alive.
Yeah.
I believe
outside of that killing.
Could they be with him?
Right.
I believe
that.
that. Because they had that much pressure like that. I mean, nothing would have happened to Big in LA if those guys would have really been around.
Been around here.
There's no way.
Yeah, and I felt like that was a setup. Big probably set himself up then. Didn't even know he was setting himself up. He probably think he didn't need him since the feds was watching him.
Right.
But you gotta think, he knew the whole time this was never his beef.
Right.
Right.
He moving like a guy that knew that this was Diddy's beef the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who know that he never said nothing to Tupac or about Tupac.
But that whole thing was careless though, because
Of course.
he realized, because everybody realized where hip hop was, where that beef was, as far as whether it was fabricated or not, where the beef was, and where it only take one idiot that's out there to escalate it.
But he had been in LA for a whole week and a half and no issues.
Yeah.
Only reason why I'm gonna say that Diddy probably won't be into it is because Keefe D especially says they jumped his cousin Orlando Anderson in the MGM.
Correct.
And they came and got him and said they jumped your cousin.
Correct.
Then they went looking for him.
Right.
Correct.
And then he says that we went to a club 626 because they told that he was supposed to be performing there because flyers was everywhere.
Right.
He said they went there, didn't see him. They leaving the club. They hear the girls holler, "Hey Tupac, hey Tupac."
Mm-hmm.
He hang out the window. Mm-hmm. They had to spin the block. Yeah. That's why he couldn't shoot.
Right.
Cause he got outside.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm thinking Diddy might get away with it.
So I think the reason Diddy won't be involved is because it's incredibly hard to corroborate somebody being part of it as the person that is paying it 27 years later. Right?
Right.
So like, for one, you're not gonna find a bank statement from 27 years ago.
Of course not.
You're not gonna. If the guy corroborates and says under oath, like, "Hey, I witnessed him getting the bag," then obviously Diddy's defense is gonna say, he was our bodyguard. Like, it's understood that it was, security for us.
Right.
I
don't think Diddy's catching a charge.
Right.
I think if it even comes out that it's insinuated, it's a terrible look for his legacy.
It would be.
Damages it severely. There's no coming back from it because there is just so much documented evidence of. So Orlando Brown dropped another guy down. Well, actually, Orlando Brown dropped Suge's best friend in Atlanta over a beef with Diddy and them. Also, too now.
Right.
So again, it's just a lot of blood on a lot of people's hands.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's just a bad look from a legacy standpoint.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all ain't watching none of them Keefe D interviews, y'all need to go watch them interviews.
Google Vlad TV and just type in Tupac interviews. It's probably about 12 interviews from police officers, investigators, gang participants, everybody. Man, it's the most compelling thing online, man.
It's this whole Tupac murder thing is crazy. Then Suge say to this day that he gave the dude $3 million for cremation, and he never seen the man again, but never seen Tupac again. Cause Suge think Tupac's still alive.
Man, that's just to keep the.
You know the crazy thing with that is though, with the whole Tupac is alive.
Yeah.
That he changed his name to Machiavelli. Like that whole, I'm not saying he's alive. I'm just saying that his name being Machiavelli, which is, according with Machiavelli, that's the whole deal about coming back to life.
Right.
Being away for so many years and then coming back.
Right. The Don Illuminati theory.
Yeah, the theory.
Right.
Yeah. So that's crazy, man.
Yeah. The problem is nobody got to see Pac when he was dead. That's also why they think that. Nobody got to see him.
His mother has never definitively said, like, you know how you have like interpretations of hearing mothers talk about when they saw their child on like the slab at the morgue.
Right.
You've never heard her talk intimately about like anything about that time of her seeing her son's body physically. She never talked about seeing him at the funeral home. Like, as a black mother, and we come from the South, right? And we know what it's like to go through that process when somebody is like truly being funeralized. I can hear my mom talk vividly about when my dad passed and how those days and those processes, man. And you never heard his mother talk about anything like I rubbed his face for the last time, or
Nothing like
nothing, man. And it just and not saying that she had to,
Right.
it just feeds that theory of could it be?
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm gonna say could be is because YG recently just said when he met Tupac mama. The way he said she glorified and thanked him about how he keep his son's name alive. She said she was crying really hard and gave him a tight hug. He said he knew that day that Tupac was dead. YG said that did it for him.
Yeah.
So the reason I wouldn't think that there'd be any chance is because the amount of years that you have to wait if you fake your death is already passed.
Right.
So there's no incentive for him not to still be in hiding.
Right.
Do we know how many years that is?
There is a limit to it. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's already passed. So it's like,
in today's age, man, he would be the biggest star in the world.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
He would be money.
I'm talking about from a cultural impact, white and black. Tupac will be the most important person on earth.
Right.
I am not over exaggerating this.
All right.
From being able to talk in different rooms and talk about things that he was already talking about lyrically.
Oh yeah.
Now being able to come back and having validity, knowing that your words are being taught in some of the most prestigious institutions in the world.
Oh yeah.
Right. He would come back as the most significant person culturally in entertainment.
Yeah.
By far.
Man.
And guess what? They wouldn't like it and they'd probably try to kill him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he would mobilize the hood in a way that Boosie could never even dream of it.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Boosie. Hey, by the way, Keefe D hates Boosie.
Hates it. Say he's a clown. Say he can mind his business. And he might mind your business and you might live longer. Those were his exact words.
Yeah. Tell me mind his business and you might live longer, man. But yeah, man, I ain't gonna say shouts out to Keefe D, man. Good luck, my brother.
Man.
I'm here. Click the button right here. Subscribe. NoPettiKicks. Each and every week, we live copy all the NoPettiKicks, man. You know, nothing but the flyers. Subscribe. Tune in. Tell your friends and turn your notification buttons on.